Hey everybody, it's Big E. Welcome to Big E's YouTube channel. Today we're doing something a little different. I'm doing a brake job on the 2007 Chevy Equinox. They told the person they're going to need rotors and brake pads, but I'm suspecting the rotors are fine. I'm going to show you how to measure those, save you a couple bucks. Brake pads are definitely shot. So it's going to be like a quick overview and some tips as I do this. So first thing you want to do is obviously get the wheel off. Second thing is you're going to want to grab yourself a 13mm ratchet socket. There's two bolts on the back side here. This one here and down at the bottom. This bleeder screw is going to be, you might want to know where that is because it's a dual piston caliper, and what you're going to want to do is crack that open when you go to push the pistons back inside the caliper so you can fit the new brake pads on. I'll show you what I mean as I do this, but you want to know where that's it. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to take these 13mm screws out. Let me try and give you a little better view here what's happening. We'll get the bottom one yet. And you might have to watch with the boots, you don't twist them up too much. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea when we put this back together to put oh, okay, so it's spinning. Well, the problem here is I think it's 19mm. This here, let me show you. Where it screws into here, here's where the bolt came out of, and there's this nut here. And it connected to a sleeve, and that's your slider for when you go into brakes. Problem is that nut, for whatever reason, I can't get in there with a regular 19mm wrench, which is what you're gonna need. So basically what I'm using is a needle nose vice grip. So I've been going on there. Make sure you get it on the flats of the nut, and then just put that on, and that'll help hold it so it doesn't twist up the boot and cause issues with that. So that being said, the bolt should come out. So release this. Okay, so this is going to, sorry, I'm really having difficulty here with this camera today. Alright, so this, if you work it a little bit, it'll come off. Now, be careful with your brake hose. You don't want to let this hang by the brake hose. You don't want to kink it. While you're here, look at your brake hose. If it's cut, dry rotted, anything like that, you might want to think about replacing that. This one looks not too bad, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to set that up here. So then, take our handy dandy little nose picker pliers. We're going to get these brake pads off. Try and get them even. Yep, these were just about shot. I'm going to show you here. I don't know if you can see. Really not much on there. So it's definitely time to replace those. So that being said, so now we have these springs here. Have our caliper resting here. So remember I said about the needing to replace the rotors. So I'm going to show you, I looked up the specs on this 2007 Chevy Equinox LS all-wheel drive. Is 1.072, so 1 inch, 72 thousandths of an inch is your minimum thickness. So if it measures that, you have to throw it away. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what I use to measure. So I got myself, they actually say, but I use a dial caliper, so we're going to go ahead. So I got an inch.
Everything going all right?
So I have like I have an inch and 142 thousandths. Inches, the minimum is an inch and 74 thousandths. So we're actually 10 thousandths good. Let's check here. I have one and 163. So we're actually above minimum thickness. So that tells us that these rotors, it's okay. We don't need to get new rotors. The customer's not complaining about any kind of a pedal shimmy, so we don't need to cut them. We can go ahead. Now what I do recommend doing is get yourself about 150 grit sandpaper, and this is kind of like an old school trick I was taught, oh shit, years ago. And go ahead, and you might want to see how I'm turning. It's like a unidirectional, but what that's going to do, it gets the glazing, plus it helps seat the knee pads better. So go ahead, and you can sand the face of that. And that also, I mean, you don't have to, but it also makes sure that when you seat in the new brake pads, they won't squeal if you have it deglazed. So let's see if I could have this a little better for you. Yes, anytime you have metal, I mean, even with building engines, anybody who knows who builds engines knows you always have to deglaze whenever you're having something to seat. And that's about as good as you're going to get. Okay, so now our next trick is getting the getting the pistons back into the caliper. So instead of going out and buying a fancy tool, what I do is I take one of the old brake pads. I go ahead, I lay that in there. I use a regular 6-inch C-clamp. But first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up that bleeder that I mentioned about earlier in the video. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open that up. 10 millimeter. Just crack that open. And go ahead, open up your C-clamp. Now you're going to see fluid run out, and that's okay. Because I found out, and I didn't know this because I never ran into it before, there's a plumbed in check valve that will not let the brake fluid reverse flow. So this is the only way you're going to get those in, is if you open up the bleeder and let the fluid out. So as that's draining out, to prevent any air from accidentally getting in there, go ahead and tighten that up. Now you can put the cap back on, the rubber cap, and then once you do all that, then you can let the pressure off your C-clamp and pull that out. Okay, pull out your brake pad. You can see they're back in their bores. Blow out any dirt, any debris while you're there. Now, go ahead. You can put the brake pads on. You can put some stuff on there I wasn't able to. I thought I had some and I don't, and I'm kind of in a time crunch, so you can use that. And then what you do is you slide the back one in. Let me bring you down here. So you're going to see here this notch here, and there's one on the back side. So what you're going to, and there's one up top. See the one up top? Let me see if you can, if that helps, this notch. And you see how this is notched out. Okay, so what you're going to do is follow the contour like that. It's almost like a backwards C. So you're going to go ahead and put that notch in that notch, push up, and this should, if you lined it up, it'll slide in there. And it's starting to go there. See how it's there? I'm going to show you. See how it slides in there, and on the back side it slides in there and there. And there's a shot of the brake pads. Got some pretty good meat on there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the, now make sure you don't kink the hose, and watch very carefully you don't kink that hose. That brake hose is very, very crucial that that's not kinked. So we're going to go ahead, put that in place. Now what I would recommend doing is getting a little bit of anti-seize, Permatex anti-seize, and these bolts that go in there, I would recommend just putting a little dab on there, and then you have to go ahead and line that up. So, oops, see, it's too much, so back that out. And then I like using my fingers. I can feel if a bolt is engaging in the threads, or if it's just spinning, or if it's cockeyed and it's stripping out, which you don't want. So we'll go ahead and we'll get the bottom bolt here. We'll put a little thing in. Oh, this shit gets on everything no matter how you try not to. Next thing in 5 minutes I'll look like the Tin Man from the Wizard of Oz. Alright, so we do that. Let's see, we get that started. We get our, go ahead and get our 13mm ratchet and socket combo. Tighten it up. And there we go. Look at everything one last time. If anything looks weird, again, look at your hose. See how it runs. It's nice. Make sure there's no kinks, no cuts, nothing dry rotted, nothing broken. Okay, so that's kind of like a quick overview. The replacing the rotor, it looks like it's a matter of an Allen screw here and just taking that all apart. Luckily we didn't have to do that. It saved some money, but at the same token we resurfaced it. We deglazed the rotor so the brake pads should seat nicely, and this person should have good brakes then on their vehicle. Anyway, this is Big E. Like and subscribe. Check out some of my other videos. This is kind of really weird for me to do an actual maintenance video this type, but here it is. And also we're still trying for tomorrow. As anybody know who's a fan of the channel knows, we have race day tomorrow. I'm looking to get some epic videos together for you guys to put up on the channel for you guys to view. But for today, 07 Chevy Equinox front brake pad, brake job kind of deal with that with some tips. All right, so hope you liked it. Hopefully you learned something, and that's all I got. So please like and subscribe, hit the notification button, and we'll see you next time. Watch out for each other, take care of each other. We'll see you next time on Big E's.